In everything that Disney does at the theme parks, they focus on 4 things that are called the keys to the kingdom. When you first get a job at a Disney theme park, you are immediately introduced in traditions to something that they call the keys to the kingdom. These are their 4 key focuses that they want all of their cast members to focus on to make the experience for guests as good as possible. I know some are going, oh, he's letting out backstage stuff. I want to reassure you that yes, this is Disney information. However, they actually post it on their websites. If you go to the Disneyland Paris career site, it's right there for everybody to see. And you can actually take the Keys to the Kingdom tour at Walt Disney World, and it will also talk about these. So, yes, this is a Disney thing, but it is also out there in public. So don't worry, I'm not giving away a secret that's really a secret. It's a very well-known one that's out in public. Disney has 4 main focuses they call the keys to the kingdom. These are the keys to everything that they do, and they're actually listed in a specific order because of how important they are. Number 1 is safety, number 2 is courtesy, number 3 is show, and number 4 is efficiency. And all of these play a huge role in what you do and how you do it. Safety, of course, is number 1. In fact, safety is such a huge emphasis in everything that every time you turn around, you're getting safety stuff thrown at you. Even on the back of your ID tag, it's right there. Safe D begins with me. And I've heard some people make really stupid comments about it. D, Disney, okay? And it's very much emphasized because you want everybody to be safe. Safety comes first, and if you have to compromise one of the other keys for safety, that's the one time that you will do it. You really don't want to compromise any of them, but safety is the top priority. It's why we would occasionally, sometimes, rarely, yell at guests because they were about to do something that's going to get them injured, and it's the only way to get them to move. So you don't want to compromise courtesy, but if it's going to keep somebody safe, you will. It's not good show to have a ride closed, but if there's a mechanical issue, it takes priority, so safety outrules show. Safety is so important that they've even issued pins to help emphasize some of the safety rules. And yes, as a cast member, I've got several of them. It's not a complete set yet, but I love my safety pins. Cast member exclusives. So safety is everything. Safety is your number 1 priority. Safety is what you are always focused on. And then others come up right behind that. Courtesy is the number 2. You should always be polite. You should always be friendly. You should always be kind. It's why you're not supposed to yell at a guest or growl at a guest or tell them they're dumb when they're being dumb. It's actually one of the reasons for the famous Disney point, because in some cultures, pointing with one finger is not considered polite. And so it's a 2-finger point or the whole hand. And yes, I still do it today. If I go to a theme park, it pops right out. It becomes a natural part of you. It's all part of being courteous. If somebody's having a problem, okay, let me see if I can't find a solution. Let me try to do something about it. It's one of the reasons why Disney is far and away the leader, that if something goes wrong or something is not making guests happy, they will try to go above and beyond to find a way to fix it. If something happens where the park is closed early, and this has almost never happened, but in the couple rare times it has, Disney has actually given out tickets for another day at the park to make up for it. And oftentimes they'll often include fast passes and other things. If a meal hasn't worked out, they're comping the meal. They just have done some incredible things to make up for different things. When I was at Disneyland Paris, they actually had a price hike that happened right as we were arriving at the park, like the day before, and their websites hadn't updated, but the signs at the park had. So we're kind of going, wait, we should have been able to pay this, but we actually paid this. Not only did they refund the difference in the price, but they gave us these unlimited fast passes that allowed us to skip lines, and they just really went beyond what they needed to, and it was amazing. It took what was already a fantastic trip and just blew it away into awesome. And I have seen Disney do this repeatedly. Courtesy is huge. The one thing you will always come under is safety. Safety first. Number 3 is show. This is what breathes life into the stories that the guests are experiencing. When your guest is asking about how something works, like what is that line coming off the castle? How long are the characters out there, and What's it like inside the suit? We always came up with stories and explanations that would fit into the overall show to make it feel real. This isn't somebody in a costume, that is Mickey Mouse. That's not a wired for Tinkerbell to fly on, that is an ESPN antenna so the prince can watch his cable TV. And we would come up with original things to help make everything seem real. You did not want anybody to see backstage. If somebody was hurt, you didn't leave them out in the middle where everybody could see. You would try to get them backstage where the guests couldn't see, one, for their privacy, and two, to help preserve the show, and then help take care of it. You didn't want to see ride closures because it was bad show. You didn't want to see a cast member whose costume was not fixed right, or who didn't look good, or who showed up prepared for work, because it was bad show. Litter on the ground is bad show. Things that are not kept up, not maintained, flaky paint, signs that aren't repaired, lights that aren't working, are all bad show. And it was a huge emphasis with Disney that everything needed to look show ready. In fact, Disney actually made themselves famous on this one point in particular, because Disneyland, when it opened, had this army of people that would work overnight to get the park fixed up every night. This is the one thing that I think Disney has compromised on recently, and I don't think it's ranking where it used to. You can see maintenance budgets being cut. You can see staffing levels get cut. You can see other things getting reduced. The photo boxes. These are all bad show. And yet, Disney is still doing them because they're focusing on the fourth key instead of the third key. And that kind of brings me to the last one. The fourth key is efficiency. This is an important thing, but you notice it's number 4. It comes below safety. It comes below courtesy. It comes below show, except for some of the new managers. Efficiency is keeping things running smoothly, getting as many people through as possible, trying to save as much money, making things work as well as you can. Really, this is the one. If anything is money, it's this one. But even money is not a major part of it. It is to keep things going. Can you find a way to make things work better? Can you find a way to make things work smoother? How can you make the experience for the guests keep going so that way they're not stuck standing in long lines? FastPass Plus is not efficient. Just trying to, again, make the experience overall as good as possible. You want guests to actually be able to experience all 4 of these. You want them to feel safe, absolutely, and know that they are safe. You want them to feel like the cast members are friendly, helpful, there to make their day as great as possible. You want everything to look good so the guests feel like they are stepping into something real, that the imaginary becomes real to them, which is where show comes in. And then efficient. You want them to be able to have as much fun as possible and not lose time, waste time, or see things that aren't working correctly. And all of these work together, and it's an amazing thing. If you ever get the chance to go to Magic Kingdom and you have some extra money and time, there is a 5 to 6 hour long tour called the Keys to the Kingdom. You can actually take that and they will go through all 4 of these. You become an honorary cast member, you get your name tag, and they will actually show you how all of these different things implement themselves throughout the Magic Kingdom. So things like transitions from lands, which are all part of the show, they show you how it all works, how the lines and the rides move efficiently. They will point out even things like the garbage at the Magic Kingdom, how it all gets processed down into the utilidors and then shuffled out to the incinerators. It's all part of the show. And the utilidors, in fact, help make the show much better than without it, as opposed to Hollywood Studios, where you walk across the park in your costume. Kind of like Walt's old Frontierland thing. And so you see all 4 of those kingdoms come into place. What's really cool, at the end of the tour, you also will get one of these. And it is the Keys to the Kingdom pin, which is really cool. So that's kind of what the Keys to the Kingdom are. My biggest concerns as a former cast member is that efficiency seems to have kind of supplanted the others. And it seems like, at least with some of the park management and some of the upper corporation management, they've kind of gotten these keys out of order. And you see the efficiency, in particular the money part of it. How can we get the most money and squeeze every penny that we can out of the guest? That seems to be kind of taking priority over show. You see lights out, you see paint flaking, you see rides closed, you see staffing levels down, you see litter in the park. So the show is really getting compromised. Courtesy, some of the training has been cut back and reduced, and because the staffing levels aren't as high as they were, I'll be honest, the last couple times at Disney, I've actually run into rude cast members, which shocked me. It's not something I'm used to seeing. Occasionally one gets in when you've got 65,000 cast members, you're going to have some bad apples here and there. It was not emphasized as much, and you could see that. I can't really comment on safety. I can say years ago, at the end of the Eisner era, when Disneyland went through this same kind of thing, safety absolutely did get compromised. Upkeep on rides was cut back to the point where it created a couple very hazardous situations that turned out very badly for Disney. I hope it's not going that way, but I feel like in some ways that because they're trying to squeeze budgets and cut staffing, that it is. And all of this needs, in my opinion, to be brought back to where it was, where it should be. These 4 keys are the keys to the park. And as Walt showed people and taught people, when you emphasize these 4 and in the right order and you preserve them, they're your goals, the money comes along. Walt's the guy who sold a book for 25 cents that cost him 24 cents to make. The point wasn't the profit, it was the show, and people would go out and talk about what they experienced, and more people would come in. And what I am afraid is happening, partially because of the overwhelming crowds, is Disney has kind of gotten the focus off of those keys, and I'm afraid it's going to end up biting them here. So I'm hoping that some things happen, that we get some people that re-emphasize this. I mean, even traditions, the introduction class getting cut from when I was there a full day. At one point it had actually been 2 or 3 days, and now from what I hear, it's like 4 hours. You can't get all of that in 4 hours. And it shows up in the quality, it shows up in the safety, it shows up in the show. Come on, Disney, let's get back to emphasizing the 4 keys to the kingdom and doing what Walt established. And that's what makes Disney stand head and tails above the other companies, and I don't know that they necessarily do at this point in time. I hope that time proves me wrong on that. So what do you think about the 4 keys to the kingdom? Do you see them in other parks, in other fashions? I know other parks have different things that they use that are similar, but they still come out a little bit different. How are you used to seeing it? Have you seen these exemplified in the parks or compromised in the parks? I'd love to hear in the comments below. If you got somebody who's working at Disney or is thinking about working at Disney, don't forget to share the video with them and hit that like button as well. Be sure to check the description below. There's all sorts of information about my equipment, my fan pages, my merchandise, and all sorts of stuff there. If you got a question, there's a good chance it'll be answered there. Otherwise, send your questions to me on the fan pages. Thank you so much to my patrons, too, for supporting me. My patrons rock. If you want to know more about Patreon and supporting me, especially in this time of confusion over COPPA and what it's going to do to income of family-friendly channels, check out Patreon. I'd appreciate it. Thank you so very much for watching, and God bless. Number 3 is show. Efficiency, you want them to feel like they're valued and treasured. Blah, 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 blah. If you'd like to know about my merchandise, fan pages, and more, be sure to check the description below. If you'd like to know whenever I've got a new video posted, well, make sure you hit that button right up there and subscribe. If you'd like to watch another one of my videos, I've got a great one for you right here. And if you'd like to be like these wonderful people here and support me financially on Patreon, well, make sure you check the link right there. There's even some extra perks for them. Thank you so much, and God bless.